Welcome to our iTeach podcast, where we share stories that spotlight deeper learning and education. I'm Chris, and in this episode, we're exploring authentic learning through the lens of JROTC education. Our guest is Colonel Bruce Chick, a JROTC instructor at Social Circle High School and a partner in our Deeper Learning Initiative. Colonel Chick spoke with iTeach Innovation Specialist Anna Moreno about what it means to create real-world, purposeful learning experiences that empower students. From leading community events to taking ownership of their learning, his cadets are experiencing education in powerful, practical ways. Let's hear from Colonel Chick as he talks with Anna and shares how authentic learning takes shape in his classroom.
All right, so first question. What did you do and what were you trying to accomplish?
So the whole idea behind using authentic assessment for our community service learning project and our Veterans Day program was to really empower the students. We wanted the kids to take charge of the planning, the process of the administrative requirements, the training requirements, the logistical requirements, and empower the kids to make those decisions and to learn from their ideas and develop the skills that they need to work as a team. And we want to make it relevant. So what skills they're learning now, they will be able to use once they're out of high school.
So speaking to the impact, what impact did it make on you as an educator?
The students seem to learn more authentic resolutions when the ideas and the suggestions come from themselves. I can give them answers to their solutions and their questions, but I think that they seem to take more ownership of the project when you allow them to come up with their own ideas, their own questions, and I think they learn better that way, and they take ownership of those decisions.
And for your students, that impact?
Well, they take pride in success, obviously, and they're a little hesitant sometimes to take ownership of mistakes, but if you can show them how they can learn from those mistakes, they take ownership of it as well, because it's about learning.
Okay, in your words, what does authentic learning mean to you?
To me, I mean, if you look at the model of authentic learning, it's kind of an instructional approach that connects classroom learning with real world events. That's why we use news, weather, and sports. We talk to the kids every day about the seven continents, the 6 oceans. There's more that goes on than out, inside your own zip code. So we want them to look at those real world situations and then emphasize some type of practical application to their life of making decisions, working with other people on a team. So to me, it means to have students learn from their perspective using real life, everyday situations that they'll see in the future, things that they're going to be faced with. For me, I must be able to connect an instructional approach to real world situations while providing kind of a proactive approach to problem solving. I want the students to learn how to work with all perspectives and gain some valuable input from various viewpoints. We say all the time, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room. So you want to surround yourself with people that have different perspectives and feel comfortable enough to speak up and provide that perspective. I want the students to learn how to work with all those perspectives, gain that valuable input from various viewpoints, look at all the options, and then make a decision. And then you own that decision. And it's okay to, like you were saying a moment ago, lean forward and fail, but own the decision. And then after it's over with, do your after action review. Talk about what you did right, what you did wrong, and how to make improvements for the future. If I can connect real world relevance to current day-to-day situations, I believe the student will walk away with a better understanding of problem solving. Because if you look at the authentic assessment model, they talk about all different types of authentic learning. You got the authentic context, you got the impact, you got tools, you got authenticity. I think authenticity kind of rises to the top. You got to be real because the kids are going to call you on it. They're going to call you. If they can't look up on YouTube and Instagram, Snapchat, what you're saying is relevant, you've lost them before you start.
So the next question is, did your strategies to teach the same content change since being, fully engrossed in authentic learning?
I think it's changed, yes. I think it's changed for the better because it's made me realize that you need to correlate real world situations with learning. Um, I've told kids before, how do you correlate finance management, time management? Finance management is easy to me. You can't keep writing checks just because you have checks in the checkbook. You have to balance the ledger. You have to know how much money you have, and it goes back to how much is your time worth, and how much time do you have. Time management is a key aspect that we talk about. We link that to authentic learning, real world situations. You only have 24 hours. How much time are you going to spend on solving this particular issue? So I wouldn't say my strategies changed as much as I wanted to know how to correlate particular subject content, again, back to the real world scenarios. So that kind of goes back to the news, weather, and sports approach we use to engage students with real world information that they will look up, and they will look up and gain that perspective that you're trying to form an opinion from right in front of you. And they will call you whether you are relevant in providing solutions to some of their questions. So I want them to own their opinion and their perspective based on gathering data and then doing an assessment of what you have learned.
So what resources or supports did you use to support this authentic learning in your classroom?
So that goes back to perspective and what you're going to expose the kids to gain their own perspective and to have ownership of that perspective. We don't always look at Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, Channel 11, Channel 2. We look at all of them. We look at the British broadcasting system. We look at Germany. We look at France. We look at Japan. We look at Ukraine. We look at Russia. When the conflicts were going on between Russia and Ukraine, we talked about it every day. When the election was going on between President Trump and President Biden, we talked about it every day. Because I wanted those kids to understand there's a wide variety of things you must consider before you can gain a perspective and form your opinion. As long as you can articulate your position from a logical position, I'm okay with that. It doesn't mean you have to agree with me. And a lot of kids are not going to agree with some of the things they see on the news, but defend your position and do it in a logical manner. And they did. So by being able to do that, I think that ties right back into authentic learning. And they've been very good at defending their position. That doesn't mean they're going to agree with you, but they were able to defend their position. There's a time and place to have phones in the classroom, but it also can be a major distractor. The one thing that we allow them to do is to get disciplined and get structured. Put your phone away. Let's talk about news, weather, and sports. And then if there's a particular subject we want to research, I have them pull that tool out, because that's what that phone is. It's a tool. And so we'll have them research that, and of course put that information aside and put their phone back. But I think it's important to allow them to use those resources, because they're going to use them whether in the classroom or out of the classroom. That's the first device they're going to go to, is their phones.
So what is your biggest takeaway from this shift?
As far as takeaways from the shift, I would say relevance. If I can bring real world relevance to my classroom content surrounding leadership, teamwork with an end goal that'll provide or give the students positive solutions, if I can't do that, I think I've wasted their time, and I've wasted my time. So when you talk about ends, ways, and means to learning, must be authentic and real world. You have to have that authentic, real world relevance. Because if I'm going to coach, teach, and mentor a student, I want that technique to be relevant.
Okay, last question. So what advice would you give other educators?
Wow, great question. I would tell you, don't make teaching and educating our youth difficult. Because your perspective of things that are difficult and their perspective is widely different. The very first day, including 8th graders, 8 through 12, the very first day of school every year for the past 10 years, I've made the kids pull out a piece of paper and a pen and write the alphabet, uppercase and lowercase, in cursive. To them, that's difficult, because most will tell you they've never written the alphabet in cursive, uppercase or lowercase, in their entire educational lives. So at first it's a daunting task. It's very difficult for them to do. But then as we do it the next 14 days straight, it's like, oh, I could have learned this in 3rd grade. It's like, yeah, right, you could have. So I would tell you, don't make it difficult, because all the obstacles they see up front, they see as difficult. As you show them how to get around those impediments and get around those obstacles, it becomes easy. Then they want to teach other kids, including their siblings, how to write the alphabet in cursive. So I would tell as far as teaching, don't make it difficult, because I don't think it is. I think you still need to provide the structure and the relevance, the equity, the discipline and time management techniques to gain as much interactions as you can. Allow them to use their phones for research purposes when you can, including the news, including the weather app. And then put the phone away, and make them think, and make them work together, and see what they found in their own words. I will tell you that I learned recently. I had a project the kids had to do if they had missed a particular assignment, and so they all had to write a paper. Well, I got 17 perfect papers. They were all perfect, but none of those 17 papers were written in the language that the kids speak, and I could tell it by reading it. So I wrote back every one, and I said, hey, give me your references. And every one of them wrote back, I used AI. But they didn't tell me what the reference of AI was. So I brought them all in. I said, you know what? You guys all wrote 17 great papers. I went to AI, I put in the same subject, and I produced the 18th paper. However, in all 18 of those papers, there was some information that was incorrect. Okay? So we went through that, and I showed them that example, and I said, now, I'm not going to grade your final product. What I want to grade is your process. And if you can stand up and articulate what you found and what you researched, that's what I'm going to grade. So I made all 17 stand up and give me a 3 to 5 minute presentation on their paper. You could tell the ones that did the research, you could tell the ones that learned, and you can tell the ones that just cut, paste, and copied. So if you look at AI, it's like spell check. It's a tool. You're not going to get away from it. You might as well embrace it. So I've had to learn to embrace AI along with spell check that we've had around for quite a while. And so I think that's how I would tell other educators is don't run from AI, because it's like spell check. It's not a solution, it's a tool. Students are going to use AI and they're going to have great essays, but now stand up and articulate your findings from an educated position, again, with a logical perspective. I think that's how you can see what the real learning, what the learning that they picked up. Can you also share and teach me various perspectives from broadened horizons? That's what I want the kids to do. Don't tell me what I told you. Tell me from your perspective, articulate your position, and teach me what you want me to learn. Rote memory is the lowest level of learning. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, can you teach? Can you teach me? So a lot of our students, as they progress through the program, they get toward the end of their high school career, we'll actually have them do a lesson plan and plan a class, and then give a presentation and give a class to other students, not to me, give them to your peers, because I've found your peers are the most brutal graders you can have, and some of their peers are pretty brutal.
Thanks for listening to this conversation with Colonel Bruce Chick. His work is a powerful reminder of how authentic learning can transform student experiences. If you found this episode valuable, share it with a fellow educator and subscribe for more insights from the field. Until next time, keep leading and keep learning.